radio enthusiasts. Welcome to another video about early radio from the Roaring Twenties Antique Radio Museum. If you're enjoying the videos, please take a second and hit the subscribe button. You'll be alerted to new videos as soon as they're posted. In this video, we will be showcasing the life of a radio pioneer whose life ended too soon, but whose legacy continues to live on to this day, Alfred Henry Grebe. Alfred Grebe was born on October 23, 1895 in New York City. His parents were Henry and Anna Marie Grebe. Henry ran a greenhouse located on the property. 9 years later, Anna Marie would have one more child, a son named Rudolph Lewis, in January of 1904. Sadly, Alfred and Rudolph's father Henry died in 1905, when Alfred was just 10 years old and Rudolph was just a baby. In his early teens, Alfred Grebe turned an old tool shed on the family property into a radio shack where he and his friends would build radio parts and crystal radio sets. Later, Grebe attended classes at the Marconi Radio Institute in Manhattan. At age 15, he obtained a license as a commercial radio operator and was hired as a ship's radio operator by United Wireless Telegraph Company. 2 years later, the company would go bankrupt. Grebe would then take a job at Telefunken, another wireless company based in Germany. He would spend 3 years as a radio operator aboard the British tanker ship Saranac. His next job as a radio operator would bring him back to New York, working at Telefunken's new Sayville, Long Island radio station. After building radio sets for others on the side, Grebe decided to start his own radio business. In 1914, he founded H Grebe Company, turning a tool shed on his family's property into a small factory, and published his first catalog. Later, Grebe would build a second home for his company, a two-story structure, again on the family property. His new company would initially make radio parts like this crystal detector and this variable coupler. Later, they would expand into complete radio sets like this CR9 receiver. In 1921, Alfred Grebe married Stephanie Schwerling. The couple would have 3 children together, Stephanie, Camille, and Alfred Jr. Grebe's wife Stephanie would live to the age of 104. She died in August of 2004. By 1922, business was booming and Grebe's small factory could not keep up, so he had the family's home torn down and built a new factory. In August of that year, just 3 months after construction began, Grebe's company would move into its third new home. The new factory would give Grebe the ability to churn out 100,000 radios a year. In the mid-1920s, Grebe came out with the MU-1 synchrophase radios. The MU-1 was a huge success and the pinnacle of Grebe's days as a radio manufacturer. The MU-1 is considered by many to be one of the most attractive radios of its era, and one of the best performing TRF radios ever built. Alfred Grebe wanted to increase interest in radio and sell more radio sets. In 1924, Grebe founded radio station WAHG 920 AM, using his initials in the call sign. Grebe's broadcasting business was the Atlantic Broadcasting Company. 1 year later, the station was moved to 950 AM and for a while had to share the frequency with Gimbel department store station WGBS. In 1926, Grebe would change WAHG's call sign to WABC and set up a studio at Steinway Hall on West 57th Street. 2 years later, in 1928, CBS would buy the radio station for $390,000 and change the station's call sign to WCBS. The station would become part of the Columbia Broadcasting System. WCBS is a 50,000 watt station that is still in business today, broadcasting at 880 AM. Alfred Grebe also started station BOQ for Borough of Queens. If that was enough, he also established 2 100 watt radio stations, WGMU and WRMU. WGMU was based in a Lincoln automobile, and WRMU was based aboard a Grebe yacht. WRMU was used to broadcast yacht races between 1924 and 1927. The station was the only mobile marine broadcast station in American history. In 1927, Grebe lost a patent infringement lawsuit brought against it by Hazeltine. Grebe was found guilty of infringing on Hazeltine's Nutridyne patent. The company was ordered to buy a Hazeltine license and to pay royalties to Hazeltine. In 1928, Grebe's brother Rudolph passed away at just 24 years of age. 4 years later, in 1932, H Grebe Company filed for bankruptcy. An attempt was made to revive the company in 1933. The name was changed to Grebe Radio and Television Corporation and moved to Manhattan. In October of 1935, Alfred Grebe became ill and was hospitalized. He died from complications after having a colonoscopy on October 25, 1935. His death spelled the end of Grebe Radio and Television Corporation. The company filed for bankruptcy soon after Grebe's death. Alfred Henry Grebe's tragic death cut short the life of an extraordinary man. He went from a teenage boy building radio parts in an old tool shed to a successful businessman, building a corporation that continued to grow until it was manufacturing 100,000 radios a year. A century later, the H Grebe Company factory still stands as part of the Jamaica Medical Center. No one knows how much longer the factory that Alfred H. Grebe built will stand, but his history and the history of the company he built will stand forever. That's it for this video. There will be more to come as we continue to investigate the early history of the world's first mass medium, radio. Thanks for watching.